Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
We can lose sight of what the real relationship's about, because we have a tendency of taking the future faking because we hope so much and we want it so badly to come true that we mesh that into the relationship, making all the problems and the negativity okay. Because we know that somehow or not, that one of our hopes and dreams is going to be fulfilled. This can actually even happen in friendships and also parent relationships. I mean, I'm sure that you might have sacrificed for your mother or father at some point. I really need your help. Can you do this? And you make this ultimate sacrifice. You know, if you do this, I'm going to help you in the end. And it never comes to fruition. The problem is that we believe in this, right? We believe in this because we don't really know otherwise. We also don't realize that they're kind of exploiting our hopes and our dreams and our desires. And there's a tendency, and not just a tendency, there's a reality that a lot of these folks who are doing this are quite narcissistic in nature.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. You guys hear me talk about all the attachment styles. Let me start by saying this about attachment theory. I don't care who created it. It's still flawed. It's not complete. If quantum mechanics, the most advanced science we've ever created, is incomplete, then the psychological constructs that we create to try to understand the human soul, mind, and behavior must also be seen as incomplete. With that said, I don't want anybody who identify. See, let me just say this. Be careful with what you identify with. I always tell people, whether it be a religious denomination, a psychological denomination, whatever you identify, I'm telling you, be careful. Because whatever you identify with, you're going to have to defend it. You understand? Like, you're not coming from a space of objectivity when you identify. You get it? The only thing I'm identifying as is as a man. I'm man. Maine. You can call me Maine. M-A-Y-N-E. Maine. I'm Maine. And I defend my manhood. I'm sorry. But no, the reason why I'm saying this is because people will hear attachment style. They'll go online. They'll do a test. The test comes back and says, oh, you're dismissive avoidant. And then they go, oh, that's why I behave this way. That's why I'm like this. Any clinician worth their salt will tell you every insecure attachment style there is can be developed, right, to the point where you can leave that attachment style or no longer be classified as that particular insecure attachment style. So just because you took a test, just because you saw a therapist and they classified you as something, if you actually go in and do the work, I mean, even what is considered the most difficult of insecure attachment styles, because they contain both core wounds of the other two of the three insecure attachment styles, is fearful avoidant. Even fearful avoidance can heal their attachment style if they can muster up the strength to deal with all of the anxiety and hurt and defensiveness that they were conditioned to view as part of their selves, right? If they can go in and say, no, that's not me. I don't have to respond that way. I don't have to react that way. They can become securely attached. And I know you guys hear me talk about the avoidant styles a lot. But tonight, we're going to talk about something really special. We're going to talk about, not that it's more special than the others, but we're going to talk about the anxious, preoccupied attachment style. Now, a couple of things before I get started here. I want everybody to call in and rep their style, right? You could find out in less than 5 minutes. You can go online, take, the attachment style test, right? And it'll tell you based on your honest, I always have to preface this, your honest answers, right? It'll tell you what your attachment style is. And I want you to read some of the, not symptoms, but characteristics of that particular style. And then call in and let's talk about it, and talk about how it may or may not interfere with your ability to connect and maintain relationships. And before I even get into the topic, I got to say this. Tomorrow, I have plans to do another topic. But Robin Ayers, man, she inspires me. I'll be listening to Robin, I'll be like, I got to get in on this. Oh, Lord, I got to get in. I'm going to do a topic on why the WNBA and its players do not, I repeat, do not deserve the same pay scale as the NBA. I'm sorry, I got to do it. I'm going to do a whole show. I'm going to come in here with a detailed analysis of why. And I'm not going to give up any of my talking points right now. Just know I'm going to go in. You don't deserve the bread. I'm just going to, and I'm not going to be mean about it. I'm just going to be very clear. Because there's this huge push, and I get it. I understand, equity and equal pay and all. I understand the whole argument. But I think there are aspects of the conversation that are missing. and we're gonna cover it tomorrow. I'm gonna jump off the cliff and do this tomorrow. Okay, back to tonight's topic. Tonight's topic is called rose-colored delusion. A deeper look at anxious preoccupied's blind spots. Every insecure attachment style has blind spots. And anxious preoccupieds, or as abbreviated, they're called APs. Fearful avoidance are called FAs, right? And dismissive avoidance are called DAs. And then, of course, securely attached people, it's just S, all right? Now, you all know what a blind spot is. The point of entry of the optic nerve of the retina, insensitive to light, or an area where a person's view is obscured. Now, many of us purposely obfuscate, right, our true self. We purposely put it in the darkness, i.e. the shadow realm, the unconscious, so that somebody just said something in the chat that was hysterical. Oh, Attila, that's wrong, but here we go, right? Many people, suppress it, so they create blind spots. AP blind spots can manifest in a few different ways, including, but not limited to, codependency, enmeshment, and hypervigilance. All right? Codependency. People who struggle with codependency have a tendency to fixate on their partners, anxious, preoccupied, right? And often neglect to uphold and respect their own boundaries as well as the boundaries they set for relationships. Some signs of codependency includes fawning, idealization, controlling behaviors, oversharing, and a strong pursuit of unrequited affections. Does this sound like you? Anxious, preoccupied. How is an anxious, preoccupied person created? Okay, here we go. Back to childhood. In childhood, there was this inconsistency. There was this parent that wasn't fully locked in, fully available, right? And so the child, in order to try to gain the affections and the attention of their primary caregiver, became a caregiver of sorts to their parent, or became a people pleaser to their parent, started tap dancing, laid down the sand and started soft shoeing so that they could get the affections and the admiration of their emotionally unavailable parent, right? This is a parent that just wasn't locked in, and this child wanted a deeper connection with the person that they viewed as the source of love. And sometimes that love would come, sometimes it wouldn't, oftentimes it didn't. And this child began to do things to get their attention. Now, what's interesting about anxious, preoccupied, dismissive avoidant, fearful avoidant is that these attachment styles follow us into our adult relationships. So people who struggle with enmeshment have become so intertwined in the relationship that boundaries are non-existent or identical. While this phenomena most often occurs in family systems, it can also happen in romantic relationships. Some signs of emotional enmeshment includes a lack of self-esteem. You don't have somebody, as a child, you don't have a caregiver that was bigging you up. It doesn't matter if you lost. Doesn't matter if you won. I'm here. You're enough, right? This is a sign, or not a sign, but an attachment style that has a deep worthiness wound. A deep worthiness wound. Am I enough? Am I good enough? That kind of thing. And they seek that in their adult relationships. I want to know, are you AP? How many APs are out there? Call in and rep your attachment style. Don't be afraid tonight. Call in and share. Just do the quick online survey. And if you were in my chat right now, you'd be able to see the attachment style quiz. My chat be on it. They put it in there. You get what I'm saying? It's in the chat. So get it and then share with me what your attachment style is. Also, anxious preoccupied attachment style may suffer from hypervigilance. People who struggle with hypervigilance tend to look for and obsess over signs of future abandonment, failure, and or collapse in connection, as well as opportunities for growth. It is the result of a traumatized mind built on catastrophizing instead of forming an objective perspective. Catastrophizing just simply means making a mountain out of a molehill. Considering that anxious preoccupied partners tend to date and come into relationship with avoidant partners, there it is again, relationship as a mirror. The avoidant is lacking something that they believe the anxious preoccupied has. The anxious preoccupied is lacking something in their minds that they think the avoidant partner has. Okay? So it is no surprise that blind spots can create conflict within their ugly little relationship, because it's like they are attracted to each other like a moth to a flame, and conflict begins to arise. Listen, when I come forward, if you think I am done setting this thing up, you are out of your mind. I've got questions, and I'm going to break this thing down even further. I want you guys to call me right now, 1-800-920-1580. Rep your insecure attachment style.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580. Tabitha Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today. Helping to broaden your political and moral imagination with our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
You've got a Pepto predicament, moviegoer.
Hey, I can hear your stomach grumbling.
Sorry, I ate that entire tub of popcorn with extra butter.
You overdid it, and now your movie has turned into a blockbuster bellyache. Undo it with Pepto.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto Chewables provide fast 5-symptom relief, so you can focus on the action on the big screen instead of in your stomach. When you overdo it, undo it with Pepto. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Yeah. The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Poison, so be alert and cautious. Those who act courageous, you will get nauseous, infected, or contaminated. Turn on your stereo and become radioactivated. Deadly and fatal, poison's the title. My recital hits the parts that are vital. So tune in the tone of beats and poems. Blow those headphones, becomes a skull and crossbones. Pull out your Q-tips, clean out the earwax. If it's still hard of hearing up, a struggle with Ajax with maximum drums. So behave and remember, you're a slave to my sound wave, faster rhymes. I mastermind. I have to find a new method, time after time. Write around quick when I pull out my big pen. Stick to an idea that sounds real slick. Then put it on paper, cause I make you hyper.
Hey guys, I'm Heidi Priebe. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Today we are continuing a series on each of the attachment styles, each of the insecure attachment styles, so avoidant, anxious, and fearful avoidant, and what it is that causes them to perpetually make the same types of mistakes in relationships. And this can be applied not just to relationships, but to basically any area of your life where your attachment patterning is showing up. So for a lot of people, that might be work, it might be friendships or family relationships, but the relationships that tend to be the most painful and kind of cause us the most distress tend to be romantic relationships. So we're going to focus predominantly on those throughout the course of this video, but feel free to take this and apply it to whatever area of your life it applies to. So I want to start off by saying that I do not think that anybody of any attachment style, secure, avoidant, anxious, fearful avoidant, gets out of a bad relationship or finishes some period of their life where things went really wrong and goes, okay, I'm gonna do no reflecting, I'm just gonna barrel forward into the future and do the exact same thing again and hope for different results. There's an Einstein quote that goes something along the lines of, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And so what I'm not here to do is call anybody insane. I believe from the bottom of my heart that almost everybody, once exiting a bad situation, does take the time to reflect and go, okay, what could I do differently in the future, right? How can I avoid falling back into that same kind of trap that I was in my last relationship, my last job, my last friend group? And how do I make sure that in the future, I'm not doing more of the same thing? And then for a lot of us, what happens is we go into the next situation that looks different on the surface, but down the line ends up repeating the same pattern. And then a lot of us are like, okay, how did I end up here? Like, I really thought I had internalized some of these red flags, figured out where some of these problem areas are, and yet I got more of the same thing in a different form, right? And the reason this happens, and it happens for all insecure styles in particular, is because most of the time, the repetitive problems that we experience in life are originating from a psychological blind spot. So what we tend to do when we're reflecting on past situations is go, okay,
Pause.
What did I do?
I might want to come back to her because her setup game was crazy. And it just put me in the mindset of this. Somebody sent me a video the other day of a young man that said, unconditional love is dangerous. And she said, what are your thoughts on this? And I knew she was asking me this from a place of, I respect Zoe, and I respect his insight, and, you know, I might agree with him. And my response was curt. I said, this is silly. And then I didn't say anything for another 4 or 5 hours. And then I came back and gave her my reasoning behind why I said this is silly. The lady, Heidi, in the clip, okay? Heidi was cooking. Heidi is explaining, everybody is born with an attachment style. We already know the securely attached, even though the securely attached can be turned insecure by dating and marrying one of the 3 insecure attachments. We do know that. So no style is really safe. Right? So, if the majority of human beings that are born are one of the 3 insecure attachment styles, I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm not even saying you're damaged. What I'm saying is you have some psychological internal work to do, and unfortunately, that work will be exacerbated upon entering intimate relationships, whether it's business, family, or your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever. So I say all of that to say, young man who made the video about how love, unconditional love, is dangerous, and his explanation was this: if I love somebody unconditionally, I kind of let them off the hook to continue to do all of these negative things to me. And I'm saying, sir, if you have not, Krishnamurti, let me go back to Krishnamurti said it this way: I believe truth, and this is me talking, I'm going to tell you what Krishnamurti said. I believe truth and love and God and all of these high principle terms are synonymous with each other. I believe they're synonyms. God is a synonym of love, right? God is a synonym of truth, right? This is what Krishnamurti said about that. He said, the truth will never condescend to where you are. It will not meet you at the place you are at. You yourself have to raise to the level of truth. You got to raise to the level of love. And if you're like everybody else with an insecure attachment style, there must be internal work, internal victories, internal battles, internal triumphs that have to be had by you in order to reach this lofty plateau of consciousness. So you got these people who have never seen it, never experienced it, talking about it's dangerous. You ain't never been there. When I come forward, you think this setup is done? It is not.
Look likes on a mic, you should get off. You're a rip-off, I'm a rip-off, get rid of. Course a bit off, bite off, ate off, imitate off, they get paid off. For G-Rap to get laid off, get up, sit up, don't butter up now, buttercup. Male or female, shut 'em up, oh, shut her up. Yo, you heard what he said, shut the hell up, man.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 things you should know from BIN News. The judge in the 1996 trial of Michael Jordan's father's killer is calling for the release of Daniel Green, citing new doubts about key forensic evidence. Judge Gregory Weeks says the case has haunted him for nearly 30 years, and a decision is expected within a month. With less than 3 weeks until Election Day, former President Trump taped a Fox News town hall in Georgia and will join a Univision event in Miami today. Vice President Harris will appear in an interview with Brett Baer and hold a campaign event in Pennsylvania. Over 90 people in North Carolina are still missing in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. State and federal officials gave an update on how communities are recovering from the storm that killed dozens in the western part of the state. State officials say insured losses from Hurricane Milton are approaching $2 billion. And Jimmy Carter, now 100 years old, has fulfilled his goal of voting in the 2024 election. His grandson previously stated Carter would support Kamala Harris. Early voting began in Georgia on Tuesday. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Hey Amazon Prime members, why pay more for groceries? Shop Prime exclusive deals at your local Amazon Fresh grocery store and get savings on thousands of grocery items. Save up to 50% on weekly grocery favorites and 10% on Amazon brands. Find an Amazon Fresh store near you. Select varieties.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
To the 100 million people who owe the IRS money, this message is for you. We've helped tens of thousands of people close the door on their tax debt. So if you feel like you're stuck in a hole with IRS tax debt, then this is the easiest way to get a resolution quickly. To qualify for a no-pay or low-pay resolution, just call 687-246-9655 to get free from the IRS once and for all.
To keep your bank accounts, income, and assets secure. Tax closure is your same-day cure.
Chevy, All the Things 2024 Truck Season Radio 30, code GWMR0294000.
This truck season, think about all the things you can do in a Chevy truck. You'll be able to, or you can even just, with impressive towing, incredible bed and tailgate functionality, and multiple powertrains, Chevy trucks have what you need to get things done. When you want to do it all, Chevy's got you. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Halloween's coming alive at Target. Jackie and Gordy the Jack-O-Lanterns here with a front porch view of Target's Halloween deals, like 20% off costumes with Target Circle. We're talking rock stars, witches, princesses.
Ooh, I think I'd look good with a cape.
I think so too, Gordy. Plus, hit the trick-or-treat jackpot with 20% off candy.
Now that's how you get porch traffic.
This week only, save 20% on costumes with Target Circle and 20% off candy. Make your Halloween come alive at Target. Restrictions apply.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I sit alone in my four-cornered room staring at candles. Who got it? We on the radio, dude? Oh, all right. Let's take this here. At night I can't sleep. I toss and turn. Candlesticks in the dark. Visions of bodies being burned. 4 walls closing in, getting bigger. I'm paranoid, sleeping with my finger on the trigger. My mother's always stressing I ain't living right, but I ain't going out without a fight. See, every time my eyes close, I start sweating and blood starts coming out my nose. It's somebody watching the act, but I don't know who it is, so I'm watching my back. I can see them when I'm deep in the covers. When I awake, I hear a car burning rubber. He owns a black hat like I own.
Yo, this is
a
the
black
perfect
suit and a cane like my own.
anxious, preoccupied
Some might say, take
song.
a chill beat, but I can't, G, cause there's somebody trying to kill me. I'm popping in the clip when the wind blows. Every 20 seconds got me peeping out my window. Investigating the joint for traps. Checking my telephone for taps. I'm staring at the woman on the corner. It's messed up when your mind is playing tricks on you.
bugs, figured out where some of these problem areas are, and yet I got more of the same thing in a different form, right? And the reason this happens, and it happens for all insecure styles in particular, is because most of the time, the repetitive problems that we experience in life are originating from a psychological blind spot. So what we tend to do when we're reflecting on past situations is go, okay, what did I do well, right? And then the natural impulse is to double down on that. But what we tend to neglect is the information that's in our blind spot. So the things we are doing that we don't know we're doing because our brains have kind of hidden this information from ourselves. And the thing is, that's the stuff we actually need to learn from. So I want you to think of it kind of like you're riding a tricycle and you have two wheels on the back, right? And one of them is completely deflated and the other one is kind of half pumped up. And so what we do when we're trying to double down on our strengths, but we have an insecure attachment style, is kind of like we're trying to take the wheel that's already partially inflated and pump it up even more, right? Because we can't see the other wheel that's in our blind spot. And then we might get on our bike, our tricycle, and go, okay, I'm 100% sure now that this wheel is so pumped up, it's so round, it functions so well. And then we get on that bike and start immediately driving in circles because a tricycle needs its two back wheels in order to move forward in a straight direction. So for the anxious attachment style, what is that wheel, that strength that you have, that thing you do really well? And what is that deflated wheel that's going to cause you to go in circles until you attend to it? That's what we're going to talk about over the course of this video. So that's a long way of saying what we're going to look at here is what your strengths naturally are in relationships and how that strength, if left unbalanced, can actually become a weakness or a vice, something that's holding you.
So what she's talking about is anxious preoccupies. We love to love. We're going to lean in. We're going to try to fix things. We're going to apologize. We're going to work on things. But without boundaries, without balance, what tends to happen is we begin to smother. We begin to control, right? We begin to do things in the name of love, in the name of healing, that could be off-putting, that could actually push people away. And we think love heals all wounds, but that's not true. Love is a problem for avoidance. People who are dismissive avoidant, people who are fearful avoidant, love is either frightening or love wasn't given, and so independence is over love. Self-sufficiency is over love. So you deal with, people who come out of those two insecure attachment styles. Speaking of dismissive avoidance and fearful avoidance, the fearful avoidant was traumatized. Psychological abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, all types of abuses coming from your primary caregiver. Now, this is the source of love for you as a child. So it leaves you in this uncertain, disorganized state to where you don't know where to come forward or retreat. The dismissive avoidant just learned how to retreat. I'm just going to retreat and I'll take care of myself. I'll self-soothe. And yes, anxious preoccupieds can be very manipulative in the way that they try to set it up. It's safe, I'm okay, and it's not always safe and okay. Because ultimately, if you go into the relationship with an ulterior motive, looking for an end result, you are trying to angle the relationship into that little box so you can ultimately get what you want. Here we go. I want y'all to call in. 1-800-920-1580. That's the number to dial. I see the callers on the line. I'm going to get to you guys in 2.2 seconds. But these are the type of toxic, controlling, manipulative examples you will see from someone who has a worthiness wound. Now, all of this stuff can be healed. All of this stuff can be worked on. This is why I say inner work is so important here. The dynamics of adult relationships are profoundly influenced by attachment styles, particularly the anxious preoccupied attachment style. Individuals with this style often grapple with insecurities that manifest in their relationships, leading to unhealthy patterns and emotional turmoil. On tonight's show, we attempt to explore the role of ego in the anxious preoccupied. I got to get what I want to get. That's how. Listen, are y'all ready for this? All right, let me just get the callers in here. Let me get them in here. Are y'all ready? Let's go. Attila from Houston, Texas. You've been on the line the longest. It's your time to shine. Talk to me.
So we just done all lives matter the topic, huh?
We're gonna
talk. Everybody take your attachment style quiz. We just done all lives matter the whole topic.
You
ain't slick.
We know this is an anxious, preoccupied topic. We know it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you being what your particular attachment style is. I know what it is. Do you attract many anxious preoccupieds? And if you do, what is that like for you?
It depends on the phase that I'm in, right? So I'm fearful avoidant. Depends if I'm leaning avoidant or fearful or anxious. If I'm leaning anxious, I'm going to attract avoidance. If I'm leaning avoidant, I'm going to attract anxious partners. So if I could describe dating someone who's anxious in one word, it is nerve-wracking, because you got to remember, I know what it's like to be anxious. So seeing someone else be anxious in front of me just kind of adds to the anxiety that I already have as a fearful avoidant. One thing that I didn't mention in the synopsis was enablement. That's something that kind of leaches off of that codependency piece, because that's something that I've seen myself do, is enable the bad behaviors in my partners because I was in fear of losing them, right? So an example of that might be if you have a partner who has an addiction or has a partner who maybe has some unhealthy habits, and you might know that they're doing things that are damaging themselves in the relationship. But are you going to correct that or tell them that it's wrong and risk losing the relationship? When you're anxious, no. So for me, it really depends on what phase I'm in. But I can say something that I've gleaned from being in the space of an anxious person, but also dating anxious people, is that unless you're with someone who is truly with you for you, none of this really matters. And I guess what I mean by that is, as long as you are connecting yourself with them and you're trying to create this like enmeshed, dynamic where essentially you don't want to do the work to build up the inner self that you should have, and you're trying to use their strength to somehow create this dynamic, it's not going to work. And I think that's something that anxious people tend to forget, that you still have to do your work, and you can't necessarily partner or marry or date someone and somehow fulfill that work that you still need to do. Like, that part still has to be done. And I think even a secure person would agree that it takes a lot of heavy lifting and work to uphold someone who has no boundaries. That's like holding Jell-O in your hand, right?
Wait.
Like,
First off, let me stop you for a second. I'm not going to sit here and let you besmirch the good name of anxious, preoccupied people out there. First off, we've already got Democrats versus Republicans. We got Bloods versus Crips. And you going to come in here and you going to gang bang on anxious, preoccupied. Did you hear how she said it? Did you hear what she said? Because anxious people be like, I don't appreciate it. Hold tight when we come forward. We going back to Houston, Texas. Let's get it.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelinos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at LADWP.com/EV. That's LADWP.com/EV. With reported hate crimes rising in recent years, California has responded through outreach efforts across state government and in collaboration with community-based organizations for the launch of CA versus Hate. This non-emergency, multilingual hate crime and incident reporting hotline provides an anonymous reporting option for victims and witnesses of hate acts reported in 15 different languages through the online portal and in over 200 languages when calling the hotline. Report anonymously by calling 833-866-4283, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. or online at any time at cavshate.org. Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
Around here, we don't believe in victimhood. We believe in raising our voices, amplifying black voices in the climate conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
The time has come. We gotta expand. Cooperation. Distribution. New York. Chicago. LA. We gotta set our own mark and enforce it.
Champagne wishes and caviar dreams, a team that's getting cream with shells and fish scales from triple beams. I gleam, living the life for rally, packing 50 calories, rocking lizard valleys while we do a drug deal in a dark alley. Up in casinos, just me and my Dino Primo, pushing Beamos, then Paulie and Reno with 2 fly Latinos. Nas, he runs the whole staff, we count math and steam baths. We've seen half a Millie Jackson out there on the Queens half. 3 major players getting papers by the layers, and those that betray us on the block, they rock like Amadeus. Fakers get used to shooting targets, soon as the darkest. Front on the drug market, bodies get rolled up in the carpet. Those are cheaters trying to beat us. We got hookers with heaters that'll straight poppin', but more shows in your top than Adidas. The leaders looking straight to me and our Giorgio Armani's. You wanna harm me and now you got to come get through a whole army. The CeeLo rollers, money folders, sipping bowler, holding.
One of the most common issues we have when we have a kind of chronic toxic hypervigilance, a very activated, complex trauma kind of life from our childhoods, is this tendency to overanalyze and overthink everything. And this is just classic and sort of generalized anxiety disorders and anxiety in general. But for many of us who spent our childhoods in that fight or flight, we don't know how to not overanalyze and overthink and make meaning about everything. So here are some things you can do. Really quickly, if you're new here, I'm a licensed psychologist, and this channel is all about trauma, attachment, and relationships, and all the forms that those things might occur in, from childhood to narcissistic relationships and things like that. So let's talk about what you can do, some strategies if this is you. Number one is you want to start to be a detective and start to figure out what are the triggers, what makes me more likely to go into that overanalyzing dynamic. Is it when I feel judged? Is it when I feel rejected? Is it when I feel unsafe or uncertain, which is probably all of those things? but start to just, like spend a week maybe just paying attention at first, or several days. Like, where did I feel that trigger inside? And when we say trigger, we're really talking about an emotional movement, something happening inside. So I feel suddenly anxious or stressed or sad or worried, whatever it is. So start to notice and make notes of like, oh, it happened when my boss sent me an email and said, can you come to my office for a meeting? And the tone was a little bit drier than usual. Oh, it happened when I went to call one of my friends and they said, you know what, I'm really busy right now. Can I talk to you tomorrow? And my first thought was, oh, great, now I've done something wrong. You don't want to talk to me. My first thought.
Come on, anxious, preoccupied. Where there's anxiety in these attachment styles, there's usually the worthiness wound, the I'm not enough, I'm about to be rejected, I'm about to be abandoned. So the preoccupied part is I'm preoccupied with the thoughts of that. Oh my God, what are they doing? I should call. Maybe I should text. And this is where avoidant types feel smothered. Again, this is a perfect example of the philosophical lens that Krishnamurti looks at relationships through when he says relationship operates as a mirror. You're attracted to the invert of yourself, right? And many people don't connect the dots. They'll say relationship is a mirror, but they don't dig deeper and show how this aligns on the clinical side as well. Attila had some very pointed words towards the AP crew. And listen, let me just say this real quick. None of these insecure attachment styles are permanent. You can heal yourself and move to secure. And a secure person can get drawn into the whirlwind of either the avoidant or the anxious, or both. Attila, go ahead. Finish your thought.
I'm gonna need you to stop setting this up like this is a battle, because it ain't. You gotta remember, I got both sides. So it's
not a battle for you. Angles. Of course not. I know. Come on, give us this info.
I get both angles. But no, I agree with you. I think secure is where we're trying to go, right? We're trying to get to a space where we can objectively look at ourselves, our partners, and situations as a whole. Like Dr. Kim Sage just stated, that is something that, again, if you do that in your personal relationships, intimate relationships, you're doing it at work, you're doing it at the car dealership, you're doing it wherever. You're constantly in a state of hypervigilance, right? Looking for signs that someone is going to do something horrible to you. So I was saying in the chat that I personally, it's just my opinion, I think that APs get coddled a lot of times in the psychology space. And part of that could just be the psychology space on YouTube, right? I think part of that, though, is because our society favors users, right? Like, those are your high-powered bosses, lawyers, right? They tend to be sometimes dark triad type folks, right? So it makes sense why they would want to, in a sense, kind of promote and assuage the anxiety in people, right? And use that and mold it to their advantage.
So you said, wait a minute, let me be clear. You're saying that the anxious preoccupied is so adept at using and manipulating that they got even the psychological community, the clinicians, on their side to help them?
No, I'm not. What? No, I'm not saying they're doing that. I'm saying that there is a force behind some of these movements, behind some of these like perspectives that come out, because they're not always pointing out the full proof or the full, like I said, objective scope of situations, right? Or at least explaining it from the standpoint of the party that may not be favored, which in this case would be the avoidance, right? The avoidance, people are not going to be as attracted to the avoidant perspective, because I hate to say it, it's not going to get them their end goal or what they want, right? So trying to explain things from a perspective of a person that you don't like, have you ever done something like that? Like, that's kind of difficult, right? So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that the anxious preoccupied are doing this. I'm saying that I think that it sometimes benefits certain environments to basically big up the people that benefit you the most, right? So the kind, empathetic, all those types of qualities the people pleasing, that benefits. Those are good qualities. But I think what they're really just trying to say is that the excess of that is only going to attract people who are willing to take up that excess. The narcs, the users. You see, so that's the thing. And I see people in the chat saying that too. Like, well, what's wrong with being loving? Nobody's saying that it's wrong to be loving. And to be honest, what one person sees as smothering, someone else may not. I think what you have to do, though, is work out a solution that's good for you and the other parties, your partner, involved in the situation, and really understand where their needs are coming from, too, from a true empathetic space, is what I'm saying.
Very interesting take we have on the other line, because I want to bring them on together. We have an anxious preoccupied on the other line to talk to Attila, who is...
Oh, what?
Yes, we have Hustle. Hustle has a question.
Is Hustle anxious preoccupied?
Hustle? Welcome to the show, Hustle. What are your thoughts? You have a question?
Look, Attila cleaned it up real nice, but I'm going to keep it messy.
Him with his cleaned up words.
Listen, you can't throw shots and then say you're not in the battle. You know what I'm saying? You can't punch somebody in the mouth and say I'm just playing. So look.
Did she punch us in the mouth, or did she gave us,
I was like, who punched you in the mouth?
She gave us some good information. Hustle for the...
I just told you I exhibit both sides. So where was the punch, my brother?
I don't know. Coddled, I don't know. The connotation of coddled. Anyway.
Coddled was ugly. That was nasty work. But go ahead.
Look, the way I'm looking at it is...
If you swaddled, you swaddled.
Wait, stay right here. Don't leave. When I come forward, I think this is beneficial. I think this is therapeutic. These are two of my favorite people, Hustle and Attila, and they're going to talk civilly about the varying degrees of difference between the fearful avoidant and the anxious preoccupied.
Living a fast life with fast cars. Everywhere we go, people know who we are. A team from out of Queens with the American dream. So we're plotting up a scheme to get the seventh thinking cream.
Yo, I got guns from Italy, smoke trees considerably. Mid-state and green, it seems as well. My be the ghetto misery. Shootouts in liquor stores. A perpendicular angle of the clout war. Police searching up my Lexo, but who's petrol? My tech blows straight off the roof to test your respect. Oh, but don't respect me. It got me handcuffed to rough like.